Hello and welcome to the Cinema and Television Arts Living Learning Community at California State University, Northridge. This video will provide you with an in-depth look at the first living learning community in the nation for film, television, and media students. We will explore the brief history of the community, our goals, and also hear from some of the people who had a role in bringing this community to life.
Now let me talk to you just for a second about these positions, and just generally speaking about the philosophy of the community itself. A lot of the reason why this community was formed was to give you guys the opportunity and the experience that you wouldn't otherwise have this early in your academic media education. Starting out in the industry professional period, the most important thing is the experience, and that is what we're trying to provide you. We're trying to provide you with good experience and good practice, so that you can, so when you actually do get really into the crux of your education, actually being in the film production option or the screenwriting option or the television production option, you're already so much more prepared than a lot of the people are when they get there.
Living learning communities take many forms across the nation, and actually they have their origins in the beginning of higher education around the world. In the beginning of higher education, students would study in cohorts with their faculty, and recently, probably in the last, I would say 10 years or so, living learning communities have regained popularity in the United States. The Cinema and Television Arts Living Learning Community came to be because of the suggestions of a number of students who thought it would be a really good living learning community. And the students were very persistent in pursuing this as one of our newer living learning communities. One person was extraordinarily persistent who arose to be our resident advisor on the floor, and that was Ryan Orange. And if he hadn't been as persistent at pushing the agenda, getting myself in contact with the faculty, getting meetings together, then it probably would not have come to be.
When I was approached about the CTVA department becoming a part of this living learning community, I was excited. I looked at all of the possibilities, and I was quite familiar with it through the other departments that were already involved, computer science and engineering, I think, School of Engineering. And I was also familiar with the living learning setups through other universities. I know Stanford and USC and some of the other major universities are now doing these living learning communities.
Filmmaking is the most collaborative art form. And to begin collaboration at this early stage, living together in community, so suits the filmmaking model. It seems to me to be a perfect fit. And the sense of community, you know, in making a film is very short-lived. You come together intensely with strangers and you bond almost as a family, and then you have to part. It's an odd phenomenon. And to have a continuous, ongoing community while you're developing, while you're expressing your creative self in your formative years, I think is wonderful support and nourishment.
All of us on the full-time faculty thought it was a wonderful idea, a great opportunity for the students and also for the faculty to work in new ways that we hadn't yet done to really create, I mean, the idea of community, it's exactly that, to have students living together, working together, helping each other, older students, more senior students mentoring more junior ones, bringing faculty to the dorms where the students live. These are things that, you know, are not part of the traditional university experience, but we immediately embrace the idea, all of us, and so far it looks like it's been working amazingly well.
So my job was to really sell it. Melissa Giles and Ryan sold it to me, and I was excited. It didn't take much selling. And I took it to the faculty. As a precursor, I presented and talked about the pluses of having this community. Then I invited Ryan and Melissa to our next faculty meeting to give a further, more in-depth look at how a living learning community works, and more importantly, how would the CTVA living learning community work. And it worked. It was a unanimous vote of the faculty that we embark upon this great great adventure.
This community is the newest addition to the 6 living learning communities at Cal State Northridge. As a living learning community, our goal is to blend the academic environment of the university with the living environment of our residence halls. As such, we provide students with various opportunities to gain experience in their specific field of study. One of the opportunities that students have in our community is to form production groups and work on their own short projects. Screenplays for our projects are selected by a panel of students who receive proposals from the writers in the community. The selected screenplays are then workshopped by our creative development team before going into production.
I think that any opportunity for a screenwriter to have his or her work produced is a great opportunity and one that should be explored. So I think that's wonderful. We're doing a lot within the regular curriculum of the program to foster more collaboration between our screenwriters and our production people, directors and producers, etc. But this provides yet another opportunity for students to have their work produced. And in as much as the community has equipment, has students who are willing and eager to make movies, it's great. There's no downside.
Something really great about the community is that it gives students access to the process before they will necessarily get it in their curriculum. This is a chance for freshmen and sophomores to become involved in the filmmaking process, to test themselves, try on different aspects, of the process, and make some movies and have a good time, really.
And I'm hoping that with this community, that it's not competitive but collaborative. That for the good of the department, everybody's excited about making a good product, regardless of who directs it. At the other film schools, it's really the director, and you will fight to direct. And I'm trying to create an environment where you just fight to make a good film, all of you, regardless of who's the director or the producer or the writer. So I'm hoping that the community will help build men and help build women, and kind of break some of the trends and some of the bad trends that exist in Hollywood, and learning how to work collaboratively for the good of the project, not just for the good of the individual. So I hope that we're not creating egos, but creating good filmmakers and good work ethic for the sake of the program, for the sake of the future, the future careers of these students.
There's a tradition in the movie business. It's a hard occupation. It's difficult to enter and it's difficult to practice. And everyone has had the help and goodwill of someone else somewhere along the line. And this is, I'm talking professionally. And it is a legitimate tradition to start early on. I think the experienced students have a lot to offer the students coming up, and in a way giving back to them, because they will have been helped along. It's just done more informally here without the learning community. That happens here and now. But with the learning community, it's more formalized, and I think that advanced students really can make a contribution to the up-and-coming students. And, there's a lot to be learned when you teach. To teach is actually to become a student again, and it puts you in that position of revisiting what you think you know, and having to support someone else, encourage someone else, help someone else. And it actually solidifies your own knowledge and confidence. So it's a place, I think, for advanced students to exercise their confidence, really, in a very helpful, positive way.
It's still in the experiment phase, but I do like the support that the university has behind the living learning communities. President Kester the provost, everybody's excited about this, and I think it's going to work, and I think it will catch on. I think others will hear about this and look at the results, and it should catch on with the other universities.
We have 3 editing stations with Final Cut Pro and Avid Express. We also have a variety of support equipment that the students can use that makes them fairly independent from the equipment room in the academic facilities. For this semester, we have been working on the classrooms. We have 4 classrooms which are in the residence halls. They will all have screens, DVD players, VHS players, sound systems, decoders, and CTVA will be holding classes in those classrooms for the residents and other students in the program.
Equipment purchases that are going on where students can walk out of their dorm room and go to a classroom. They can walk out of their dorm room and edit. So it has strengthened the department. It's really provided something that we were not providing, and also it's a satellite part of our program, so that not only do we have students entrenched in film production and television production here in the CTVA department in Manzanita Hall, we have them across campus in the dorm, in our dormitory. They're working and editing and creating and writing and shooting. So it's an extension of us, so it does strengthen the program. And I feel that in film school, you're operating a studio, that students could leave this film school and make an independent film. From beginning to end, they have a complete crew to do that. But it is hard to kind of create that atmosphere because Northridge, number 1, is considered a commuter school. So with the Living Learning Community, it brings back that part that's missing. The students are there. It's a culture of filmmaking and television production and multimedia production and screenwriting. It's a culture that's being developed. And that culture, I think, will bring to our program a much cohesive pedagogical environment. And furthermore, I think that the product that will come out of here, because the students are starting early to think communally, I think that it's going to just create a stronger program, and the students are going to be well versed in all aspects of motion picture production and television production. And the creative energy, I think it's located in one area. It can't but produce really good students for our program.
At the end of the community's inaugural semester, members of our community have successfully completed principal photography on 3 short films, and pre-production has begun on 2 winter projects, as well as a 35mm senior student film.
That being said, this is one of my favorite living learning communities simply because it really was truly student-driven. It wasn't any administrator's idea that we have this particular living learning community. It was the original idea of the students and the persistence of the students. And so I'm really rather proud of that for our students. And students should realize that they do have a lot of power and a lot of voice.
In the 2005-2006 academic year, the community will double in size and have a dedicated residence building.
Currently, we have 1 floor of CTVA students in our residence hall. Next year, we plan on expanding it to 2 floors, as well as having a 3rd floor of arts, media, and communications students who can be involved in all the film projects that the CTVA students are doing for their academic requirements and for the community.
I encourage all CTVA students who live in the dorms anyway to consider living in the living learning community. I think it's an opportunity that probably is unmatched in academia in that regard.
Well, I'm just delighted that it exists, and the entire faculty is looking with great interest to see how the community will grow and flourish. This is a new experience for all of us. We're very impressed with the pioneer students who are there. There's a really great energy there and enthusiasm, and we're very hopeful. And we really are looking to the future. We want to know how this is going to blossom.
As a department, with the faculty, with a lot of things that are politicized, it is bringing us together. On the committee, we have members of the CTVA Learning Committee, the faculty committee, from television and film and multimedia production and screenwriting, and we're all working together to make this community a success. So that does bring us together, it brings the disciplines together, and everybody's excited about it. Everybody in the department absolutely excited about what's going on in the CTVA Living Learning community.